Welcome back to a Cetera podcast. I'm your host, Victor, along with my co-host, Mark, to my right.
Yo,
What's popping, bro?
what's good? I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm chilling, man. Life is good. We alive. We breathing. Weather's getting nice.
That's right. That's right. A little chilly
Um,
today, but it's
yeah.
fine.
I mean, yeah.
I think next
Yeah.
week it's supposed to be crazy. I think Friday of next week, I think I saw it's supposed to be like 90. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of crazy.
Shit. Well, I mean, yeah. Memorial Day, post Memorial Day, summer, first day of summer's coming up. You know, it's that time. But before we get into any conversation, I just want to have a quick test with you.
Test.
I'm gonna
Testing.
and I just want to prove a point. You know, to our friend Quentin here.
Okay.
Just because we had a private conversation during our ride, and I forgot to mention it to you. So I'm gonna write down these two words. You're gonna pronounce them out loud for the people at home, and then I'm gonna show you two more, and then that's all. That's all I need to do. Okay, it's gonna be very quick.
I think this is like a pronunciation test.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
I
So
figured.
not even a test. The words are very simple, but I just say it how you would normally say it on any other day.
Okay.
So read the first and then read the second.
Adam. Well,
Don't overthink it. Just
I know, but it's just like I feel like it would change based on the context. If I'm really like talking about a bunch of science stuff, I'll probably end up changing a little bit. But if I regularly say it, it'd just be Adam and then Adam.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. And I got two more for you.
It's like yes, the
Nah.
at
See, with that, like I don't think you necessarily change the pronunciation. I think it's just the context tells you what word you're referring to.
Yeah,
But they
this
still
is
are
true.
both said the same way.
Yeah.
And then two more for you, and then we're done.
When?
When. Thank you.
There's no way this man said it that way. There's no way.
I'm gonna give you the backstory. So last week we talked about, I believe, or the week prior, how we went to a comedy show. Not a big deal. So on the way there, I forgot what exactly we were talking about. It might have been talking about vacation or something, like how like stuff we've been planning, or I don't know. Point is, we had a conversation and we were just like, it was like I think for the Nickelodeon Hotel, we were talking about how it closed down. And I was talking about how there's one in Mexico and there's one in Dominican Republic. So as a joke, he was like, oh, like since we're thinking about going there, we could just stay there. And then I think this was the context that made it come up. But point is, he said the words, he was like asking me when, or it might have been somebody, I don't know. I'm fucking up the story really bad. Now that I think about it, I think it was for a concert or something. And he was asking me when, right? And he said, we were like laughing, whatever. He was like, when? And he kept saying when. But the way he said it, when he was asking me when, he kept saying when. When. And I'm like, yo, this man's having a stroke next to me. I was like, yeah, he kept saying win, and I'm like, oh, like he's saying like it's a win-win situation or something. I'm like, all right, cool. But I was like, he said win 3 times now. What's going on? And he was like, when is it? And I'm like, when? That's not what you say.
When is it? There's no way.
And it's been like a point of discussion for a couple of days now. The reason I said Adam and Adam is because he sent me a podcast and how two friends were arguing because he was like, oh, why'd you say Adam like that? He's like, and it was dumb because the friend said Adam, and he was like, no, you said Adam, not Adam. And it's like, yo, like shut the fuck up. Like
you're literally saying it too.
Yeah, like you're doing the same shit. And he tried to compare it to that, but I was like, bro, when and win sound different. They look similar, but there's an E and there's an I.
Yeah, you tell the E, the N, and then the N.
Yeah, like there's a difference there. So I was like, at the time he said win. I don't think he realized it was an honest mistake. Just at the time it was funny because I'm like, yo, why does he keep yelling win at me? I'm just like,
we're going crazy.
We're driving right now. What's happening? Yeah. But that was all I wanted to start off with. Get that out the way. No big deal.
No problem. Interesting.
Anything that you wanted to mention or bring up?
Well, kind of something similar, but not in a way.
Speaking of which, he just called me. He said, let me say hi to podcast. And he called me. But I'll let you. You want me to do this first, or you want to talk about what you want to talk about first?
Yeah. Let me just say what I want to do. That way we can just get keep going after. Something similar, but not the same. My two coworkers. I guess it's something that's related to work. But again, I'm minding my own business, not even really paying attention. My two coworkers to the right of me, they're talking whatever, and it has to do something with work. But they turn over and ask me, it's like, oh, Mark, what does MMA stand for? What do you think it stands for?
Mixed martial arts.
Exactly. I said that to them and they were laughing. And I'm just like, what?
What do they think it means?
Well, again, it's something that has to
In
do with
different
work. It's a different like acronym. But I'm like, bro, how can you just turn to me?
I just want to say before you get to this is stupid. Continue.
I'm like, it's
what they're about to do to you is stupid.
Yeah, and I'm just like, they're laughing, and I'm just like, what? And they're just like, oh, they're like, oh, like related to the bank, like, and I'm just like, well, y'all didn't say that.
Yeah,
you
like,
turn over to me and ask me, what does MMA stand for? Me, one being a guy that knows about that, or anybody who knows about that, they most likely are going to say mixed martial arts.
Yeah,
and that's what I said to them, and I was just like.
You mean the universal like thing that like a lot of people know of as a like not everybody works in a bank.
Exactly. So that's why I was just so confused, and I was just like, okay.
That's like maybe like wait, go ahead.
I was just like, I guess I'm like, I don't know it then. I don't know what y'all talking about, but I'm like, I guess I don't know it because that's what I know it as.
That's like me looking at it like, Mark, like, what does LOL stand for? And you're like, laugh out loud. And I'm like, no, dumbass, League of Legends. It's
right?
like, all right, asshole. Like, I gave you the most common answer that 90% of the population would have given you.
If you look up the results of what that's used for, that will be at the top.
Yeah.
And that's why I was just like, what? But
it's like, what does BBC stand for? And they're just like, they talk. It's like, no, silly, the news network.
Right?
It's like, all right, bro.
All right, come on.
We all know that it means big black son.
We'll be right back at these.
It's like da 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 da. Yeah. Please stand by.
But that's it. So let's go and call this man up and see if he can defend himself even more. Or
you.
Am I too late?
No, we're still in here. I was trying to get you hooked up to the Bluetooth, but you kept calling me, so I gave up.
Okay. Hey, podcast. How much time do you have left?
About like 20 minutes. Don't hijack the whole episode. If you're gonna do that, just announce that you're coming back.
Nah, I wasn't gonna do that. I was gonna say wrap this shit up because I'm trying to watch Demon Slayer tonight. So wrap it up, boys. Let's go. I'm gonna go meet me.
Just stay up past 10 o'clock like a normal 24-year-old, and then we'll watch it.
Do you know who you're talking to?
Yeah, I know exactly. That's why I said it.
Yo, so gang,
the sun. I just want to point. The sun like just went down like 5 minutes ago. This man's talking about going me.
Yo, bro, do you know what time I stayed up drinking last night?
I don't know, but I don't know why you got that drunk in the first place.
This man called me.
I was on the phone with him before you.
He was like, man, that thing's... And I'm just like...
Just drinking pure tequila with no mix, no ice, no nothing.
I'm like, it's Thursday, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Thirsty Thursday.
I'm like, what special occasion is it today?
Yo, Mark doesn't understand the amount of dedication or like, I don't even know, like, fucking... It took everything in me to hold my composure talking to him. Because when Mark, when I was talking to Victor...
I answered the phone and he laughed at my face. I was like, do I look funny right now? Am I a clown? Do I amuse you?
I was all giggles. I straight up I couldn't even talk to him.
Are you drunk right now?
No. I just had some food, so I'm happy.
Was that a fart?
No, you're hearing someone trying to shoot my car and blow it up because I'm playing GTA Online while talking.
Oh, bro, no invite? What the fuck?
That motherfucker's gonna be doing a podcast. Just playing. Yo, so this is my announcement. I'm coming back.
Are you actually? If not, I'm hanging up on you.
I may have jumped the shark.
Who says that? It's the gun.
Yeah. Usually don't jump sharks.
Don't hang up on me.
Bull, freaking Johnny Knoxville over here.
He's in the Megalodon movie.
I may have gotten ahead of myself.
That's a good one.
What's a good one?
A good analogy or term, phrase.
Do you know where it comes from?
To be honest, I don't want to be mean right now. I don't care right now. I didn't know how else to say that in a non-mean way.
Well, I feel like I have to drop some like actor movie knowledge on you guys because God forbid you guys try to talk about a fucking movie or show.
Well, you know what?
Could you just come back?
There's a seat right here where you could do that.
There's two, honestly. But can you explain it in under 30 seconds?
Yeah, it comes from the show Happy Days.
There you go.
There you go. Jump the shark.
Nice.
Honestly, I used the wrong thing anyway, but I just wanted to say jump the shark.
It's all
So,
good. I
Okay.
forgive you.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say hi. Missed the camera. I know the camera misses me a little bit.
I know. Can you give us a genuine reason why you won't come back?
It's too far.
What's too far?
Where the fucking studio is.
Bro, I cross a bridge. Fuck is you talking about?
Bro.
And I
You
pick
know
up this
who
man
taught
and drop
us?
him back off and go home.
And that's why we love you. There would be no ETC if it wasn't for if you were any bit like me, ETC would have been fucking done.
Oh, it wouldn't have lasted a week.
All right,
It would have
let's
just been a thought.
Okay,
Well,
it's starting to get hurtful now.
the studio part, yes. I
Yeah.
mean, we still had my place.
Like,
I was
Yeah.
always there.
Vic's like, you would have done 5 minutes and then turned it off.
Not even that. It's just like the consistent part of it.
No, for real. Like I was supposed to start like 3 of my own podcasts. I had like 3 ideas, and they're like 1 episode for each. And I'm like, all right, I'm done.
This man's supposed to have a stream career, high on pot news, a whole other bunch of shit.
Yeah, everybody in the
Yeah.
mouth follow him.
Yeah.
Not one episode came out.
I really tried to do High on Pot News, but then that episode took a hard left turn when I started to like question what was life about, and then I scared myself. I was like, I gotta end the podcast early. Yo, I literally like couldn't even like, I couldn't even think. I just kept thinking about like, yo, life isn't real. And then I was like, I gotta get off this podcast because I'm gonna like break down. Yeah.
And you want me to babysit you?
Yes. Like, if it wasn't for you, I probably would have been long gone by now. I'm probably been fucking underneath a fucking underpass like a little troll.
Just off of one trip on your own.
Thank God I only microdose mushrooms. Oh, did you tell Mark how I called you one day? I was like, can you babysit me?
That's what I'm referring to. That's what I was referring to.
Oh, man.
Does Mark know about that?
No, he wants me to
No.
trip sit him. Like he wants to like do shrooms and then have me watch over him.
What is that? That sounds like some weird, like,
That's a real thing. It's thing that people do. Like if they do like acid and stuff like that, they have somebody who's sober watch over them just in case.
interesting. That's to
Yeah.
me, that sounds like some like weird, like OnlyFans type thing. Like,
True.
like,
Yeah, Quinn has a trip sit kink.
exactly. That's what it seems like to me. It's like, watch me while I
I'm
trip
high.
while I'm high. Like that's what it seems like.
I'm like, yeah, you like watch me right now while I'm high?
I have so much anxiety right now. You like that?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do next.
My heart's about to explode. You like that, baby?
I'm so
The
freaking
leaves are in
scared
such
right
high
now.
saturation right now.
What happened?
I said the leaves are in such high saturation right now.
Starts talking all smart and shit.
Oh man, good times. Yeah, but I'll let you guys end the podcast strong. Just want to do my little random drop in.
Sounds good, man. Whenever you decide to stop being and drive down here, we'll have you back anytime.
Sounds good, but
Sounds like it's not gonna happen. All right, bro. I'll talk to you later.
stop it, bro. I'm under pressure right now.
Are you high?
All right, guys. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, bro.
All right. I feel like the studio could be like right next door to him, and he's still.
That's what I'm saying. He is. I'll say this every time. He impresses me how he pulls excuses out of his ass. I love him to death. I'll fight and I'll die for him. But the one thing that impresses me is how he can pull an excuse out of thin air in the split second.
Yeah, this is true.
And what makes it even better is that I always have a butt to it, and then he pulls another one out, and we just go back and forth all the time.
That's funny. Yeah.
If I still lived in Philly, I would pick his ass up. He know I would, but I'm not doing that no more.
Yeah. That's just funny. Like he's like literally be right next to him. He's like, bro, like
He started a podcast from his house, and he did 15 minutes and tripped himself out and quit.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
We love you, Quinn. I know you're gonna call me after hearing this immediately and then yell at me, but it's all good.
Fine. It's fine. I think it could still be possible.
On a high note, or you got to say what you wanted to say, right?
Yeah.
So earlier today, I'll give him partial credit because he started it and I like built on the joke. But we were talking earlier about we talked about Sesame Street, and then we were talking about how like we were wondering, because think about it, how Elmo, you know, he's a Muppet, he's a puppet, right? A monster puppet.
Wait, he is? Wait, what?
Oh my God.
This whole time.
And then there's the one where there's like kind of, you see parts where he's full body, but mostly like he's just a regular puppet.
Just moving his arms.
Yeah. But that I didn't even really put this together until we were talking about it earlier. Not all of them are like that, because there's Big Bird, and Big Bird's like a full body thing.
This is true, yes.
And you think about like Snuffleupagus, the elephant John. They'd be like
I know
high,
what
she's
you're
like
talking
hi
about.
bird.
I
Be
think
high
I
as
know.
fuck. So we were talking about, yo, like how do those get operated? Because it's not your usual like, you know, Grover or fucking the Grouch and shit like that. Like they're all like hand puppets.
Yeah.
So we had that conversation, and like turns out I thought like we were making jokes about it, but I looked it up after. Big Bird is not like a mascot suit. Big Bird's somebody like with two big ass sticks like controlling his shit.
Wow.
And then Snuffleupagus, I think, is like a similar situation.
I guess that makes sense because I'm just thinking about like how his face is and his eyes kind of move like if it's like animatronic in a way. So I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Which kind of like fucked me, because I would assume like at least Big Bird was just a guy in a suit, but it's
Yeah.
not. And then Snuffleupagus, I thought it would probably be like 2 or 3 people operating it or something, because it's literally a full size elephant moving around.
Interesting.
And then Cookie Monster, he's bigger, but he's still just a hand puppet. The Count still is just a hand puppet. Susie's a hand puppet. So we're talking about that, and then we just started talking about like older shows and like how it would be. I think I talked about it on here, how I think it would be so much better if they just took those older brands that like our generation cares about, but like the newer ones don't really care about. Because back like now, mainly kids that are watching, they're probably like Paw Patrol, Bluey, like those are the big shows now. Like Elmo now, I feel like Elmo's a staple. Like he's not going anywhere. But there are just some shows where like it was only for our generation or prior, and we talking about like Bear in the Big Blue House. Like kids now don't worry about Bear in the Big Blue House.
True.
And there's a clip out there, I don't know if you've seen it, it's like a fucking blooper that they never released, but it was kind of like it came out way later, where the people that control like the mouse, and I think it's like his son or his brother, whatever, it's like the big bear. There's a scene of them like on a computer and they're cursing. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's funny as fuck. And I'll show it to you after this.
I've never seen that.
But he's just like, come on, hurry up. He's like, oh, this piece of shit not working. He's like all in character. And they walk off, and the bear just like looks at the camera like, what the fuck? So it's just them fucking around like the adults. But I'm like, I feel like a show like that with the same characters and everything would do really well.
Yeah.
As in just move it to the Adult Swim slot.
This is very true. You can do that.
Even the Moon. Yo, did you know why that show ended? Because the Moon passed away.
Oh, wow. Damn.
I read that the other day. That fucked me up, bro.
That's crazy.
And the whole cast didn't want to continue without her.
That's a dedicated cast.
Bro, they all were like, yo, like there's nobody else that would do this shit.
Nah, bro.
That shit made me so sad to read. I didn't know that until like 2 weeks ago.
Wow. Look at that. It's crazy.
So obviously that show wouldn't come back, sadly. But other shows where it's like shit from our generation is like be hilarious if you made it adult version.
Yes, it's true.
Cause we already seen Elmo fucking damn near be like, yo, that old video of like Elmo cursing and shit that we used to watch when we were young, that shit would kill now.
Yeah.
Or even if you made shows like Flapjack, and like Flapjack is like borderline there.
That's almost there.
They're a fuck away from being an Adult Swim show.
Basically.
Yeah.
This is true. I feel like at certain points, like Adventure Time was getting kind of
Adventure Time's another show. They're just a fuck away.
like they were literally saying some
Regular show.
Regular show, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. You know what I did see on Twitter though? And I was like, yo, I wish they did this more now too with Pixar. Is that a lot of the old movies,
like they would do like
bloopers.
fake bloopers.
That shit was so funny,
Like
bro.
Woody falls into like
Like a roll of tape, John.
He's like,
he just like, just
Tom
cracking
Hanks.
up. And I was just like, yo, that's so funny because they really do such a good job. You make it seem like it's just
Yeah.
the characters, but it's really them in the
And
studio
it's like,
doing
boop,
that.
and it goes to the next one. It's
Yeah.
like they forget their line or something.
That
or-
shit is so funny. I'm like, yo, they need to do that. That's what I'm saying. Something like that, but like you said, adult, kind of version, that would be hilarious. Like, I
Yeah.
would definitely be like watching that.
I feel like they should have never gotten rid of that from their movies. Because
That's
like
what I'm
like even newer, like you'd see like fucking Despicable Me or like those shows, like just to add on to the fact that like they're actors, like they're also in on it.
exactly.
It would make it way funnier.
Exactly. The whole time you're thinking it's just like a movie, but meanwhile it's just a whole show.
It's a true story in their world, but in reality, they're just in Hollywood, just like everybody else, and they're just that is perfect, like fourth wall breaking,
Yes.
hilarious stuff.
That's why I was like, bro, I can't believe that was a thing, but that's funny. Like they need to do that with they never did it with Shrek, but Shrek would have been a funny one
Oh
too.
hell yeah!
That would have been hilarious, yeah.
With like Toy Story, there was a couple others I think they did it too, or was it just Toy Story or
No,
Monsters Inc?
Monsters
I saw
Inc.
one for Monsters Inc.
Yeah, Monsters Inc. would do it.
And Bugs Life. Was it Bugs Life?
Yeah, it was. It was. I think that one he was like he missed a line or something
Mhm.
like that.
He's
And
like,
he was just like, and he just like put his hand on his head like that. And the other guy just laughing like,
Yeah.
yeah, man. I wish they had that.
See, let's get back to having fun with making shit.
That's what
They
I'm
still do
saying.
sometimes, because like don't get me wrong, Pixar still does not miss.
No, yeah.
Like they still make good quality movies.
Mhm.
Like Up and like Soul was great, and like all those films that come out recently. Like don't get me, I love every single one of them. They make you laugh
They're-
and cry.
They're getting into the very like, at least for me, like how I see it, they're getting into a very like sentimental aspect of their
Mhm.
movies now. Because think about Toy Story, like I felt like that had some sentiment to it, but at the same time, it really was just fun of just watching toys.
Is it that, or are we just older and we realize it now?
What?
Like, are we just noticing like the adult shit now? Because what makes Pixar great is that they make every film for children, and then they put something in for the adults that have to take their kids there.
But my thing is, think about it. I get you saying like think about
Like, are
older,
we're just more mature and we're picking
But-
up on those subtle things.
But can you say from like anything now that you can remember from Toy Story, not the new, not like the fourth one or whatever?
No,
but,
like the first
and
one.
second one. Like, can you say that there was anything in there that really made you feel like, wow, that really hit deep? Like,
The second one,
second one was what more like?
that's the one with the little guy repairing them and shit. But like the fucking, I forget his name, but like the old country cowboy guy that tries to like, this the villain at the end.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He has kind of like that as a resentment and everything. He's like, oh, you trying to fuck up what we got going on here? We got a
Yeah.
good life here. Like
That's
as an adult that like I can
you
see.
could see that in a way, yeah, I guess so. But still, it wasn't like so hard on the point where they're making you
There's-
feel like, yo, like
There's definitely, but I feel like there's a problem with like most films right now, where it's like there's a lot of like not political correctness or like PC type stuff, but there's a lot of wokeness
and
in movies now,
and I
even
underst-
beyond animation.
And
but,
I
like,
understand the idea of like bringing awareness to stuff. Like, don't get
Mhm.
me wrong, I understand that.
there's also a side of it where it's forced.
Exactly. And that's where I'm saying, like, I feel like every movie they release, you watch the trailer and you're like, oh, wow, this shit looks kind of interesting, kind of fun. Then when you finally go to watch it, there's some crazy ass deep meaning to it. And you're just sitting
Yeah.
there like,
Fuck, bro.
like, what the hell? I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting this. Like, there's I don't know if this is Pixar, but I'm pretty sure it is. The one that's coming out is called Elemental or something like that, or Elements or something like that.
That is Pixar. That's
It
tied.
is?
That's tied into the same people from Inside Out.
Exactly. And Inside Out was another one. That
Yeah.
shit was so deep and so like emotional. I kind of cried on that one. And that's where it's just that idea where it's like, I'm pretty sure that movie is going to be like that. You're going to sit there and there's going to be some shit about
Yeah.
like, oh, we should never separate no matter the fact that we're different. We
Mhm.
all need to come together. And I'm just like, bro.
The Inside Out is like that's a great concept to just
No,
like
yeah.
having all your emotions in
No,
there. and shit.
that makes sense.
just
That
like,
was a good idea.
Like that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Or Soul
But that Elemental one I know is going to be
in that same
in that
stem.
same lens because you can already tell that they literally make the trailer and what it's about. Just you can tell it's going to
Yeah.
be the whole everybody's different, but we shouldn't live apart. We should try to live in harmony and all that. I can tell that's where it's going to go. at.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like a lot of movies now is like they're trying to force, and that's also I feel like that's just as bad as not being woke.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're forcing shit. Like now, I get why they do it, but now it feels like they're kind of trying to meet a quota.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
How
like-
many people can you make cry in this movie?
Not even that. It's just like how many how many boxes can we check? It's like, all right, do we have the Asian guy? Cool. We got the Indian guy. Cool. We got the gay guy. Cool. We got the white. We got the Hispanic. We got the black guy. Cool.
Yeah.
And that's when it feels weird because, like, all right, you're trying to have one of each to make sure everybody's happy, nobody complains. You don't need that every time.
You don't.
The point of all that stuff where it's like we need representation is supposed to be natural. It shouldn't be forced. So, like, if there's a movie, so we should have more movies where there's more diversity, but like, it's cool if there's a, I mean, I can't believe this came up to my head, but like, it's funny to think about. It's like you can have a black lead and an Asian guy as a sidekick, and I was just like Rush Hour, but but see how well that did, and you didn't need a white lead.
You didn't.
And I love Rush Hour, bro. That's one of our favorite movies that we quote all the time.
Hilarious.
I'm not mad that there's not a Hispanic guy there.
Exactly.
It's just a diverse film with great comedy, great story, and you need more stuff like that. Where it's like, all right, cool, you have that, you represent the culture. And then you think about like is it Miss Marvel? What's the show that came out on Disney Plus? Is that Miss Marvel, the Indian lead actress?
Yeah, I think I can't remember. I never watched it, if I'm being honest.
I didn't. It was very okay. But it's like, cool, you have a Indian lead. That's amazing. That's great representation for kids that need a superhero growing up, because that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's parts of it was like, you're trying to not force, but you're trying to show as much of their culture as they can. And like, cool, I get that. But like, if we just implemented it in a way for everybody to see that it's subtle and I feel like, oh, this is a history lesson on Indian culture,
yeah,
it would flow better and you would still learn something along the way.
But you just feel like they're putting it down your throat while you're watching it the whole time.
Which I'm not against. Like, you can tell me about, I would love to learn more about all cultures in general, but I feel like it's more so just trying to meet a quota. It's forced, which is what I don't like. Because I feel like that's just as hurtful as the opposite end, where it's just like an all-white cast and it's like whatever.
Exactly, because at that point you're trying to make it seem like, oh, like we're
understand, we're not prejudiced, or we're not this, we're not homophobic, or we're not this.
But it's like
everybody's represented here. Don't be mad at us.
Exactly, but it's like, okay, but now we make it. Now we know that in your head you're thinking about that, and that's the only reason why this person is here.
Yeah,
you know,
we should be able to have a lead character that's gay. And they don't make it the writers don't make it their entire personality.
Yeah.
Like
don't, I see what you mean.
They can just be fucking Spider-Man and just be the Spider-Man. Exactly. And they just so happen to have a husband or whatever, like a male.
And you just sit there and you're just like, oh, cool.
Which I can't wait to see if they ever do it, which I'm kind of guessing they probably will at some point.
I feel like there was something about that. I think it was well, I mean, I remember the whole thing where it was like Donald Glover wanted to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that shit was just,
and people were just pissed. And they're like, there's no black Spider-Man. It's like, that's how you know you don't watch fucking comics, asshole. Because there's a Puerto Rican and black Spider-Man. His name is Miles Morales. And he got a movie coming out next week.
Get your tickets now. Use code.
On Fandango.
But yeah, that's just kind of how I feel when it comes to like the Pixar movies. Because again, it just sucks when you have a company like that that's so amazing. From our childhood, we felt like, again, even though we were young and we probably couldn't really pick out things like that, like I said, I felt like there wasn't a lot of movies like that you felt like you really like, you just felt like you were watching it and it was just a type of fiction fantasy world that you're just like, wow, this is actually something that could exist, but as a kid you're just like, wow, like maybe my toys upstairs are actually like, it's just those ideas and those kind of like, as you're watching, you're just like, wow, like Monsters Inc., the same thing. I felt like there wasn't any really serious thing other than the fact that like this kid had dreams, and they, in a sense, the monsters are real, but it was just like they're actually loving, for the most part. Let's not try to scare them. Let's love them. Like, that's where you just kind of felt like, oh shit, like that's cool. Different type of, twist. That's about it. There wasn't no like, yo, like this person's about to be like crying over something. And I don't want to get into it because I don't want to end up getting canceled. But it's just some of those things where I'm just like, you don't need to have that just to have a good movie.
Yeah. And I think another part, like the first Into the Spider-Verse, like Miles Morales movie, the first one that came out before the one that's coming up, I feel like that's what did it well too. Like that's a great example of that, where there was Miles Morales. Everybody knows, or most people know, that he's Hispanic and black, and he was the main character, and it was never forced down. The only times that you would really hear about it, or like for people that would know, are the people that are part of that culture, where he was in his room and his mom's like, oh, like come here, papi, like da-da-da. Like that shit. For if you Puerto Rican, you Dominican, you're Hispanic, you're like, like that for people that care, that's like, all right, like this is real. Like that was a little tidbit for us.
Exactly.
And that's a great example of that where it's not forced. Like you kind of touched on it, you add that little thing on there, and then that was it.
Yeah, but you're not having like his mom be like,
Come eat your arroz con candules by Goya
right?
with your Puerto Rican flag t-shirt on.
Exactly. And
It's like that would annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah.
As a Puerto Rican person, I'm like, all right, why are you doing this? Like, this is so corny.
and then not to like telling him to like only speak Spanish like the
Yeah.
whole time. You're just like, all right, bro, we don't
Yeah. But it's just that little subtleness. Like, come here. It's like, oh, like, and there's just little stuff that if you're a part of that culture, you're like, oh, like, thank you for putting that in there. That helps.
Yeah. Another thing that I remember I saw, and it's when it came out, and I don't know if you saw it, but have you seen the new Puss in Boots movie?
I haven't seen it, but I saw that
Never
it came
seen
out.
But there's like a part that I remember I saw on Twitter. And at that time when I saw it, I was just like, oh, like interesting, like cool. But then I actually did see it. And when that part came up that I saw, I was like,
Puss is by. So
no. He actually like suffers from like intense like anxiety. And he
Oh,
like-
yeah.
And there's a certain point where like he gets really scared and almost like basically has a panic attack, you know? And the whole point is that there's this dog and the dog just lays on him and he just calms down. And somebody had like quoted on that tweet and they were just like, I can't believe that they really think that all you need to do is get rid of a panic attack is just have like
a
some
dog,
dog
like
that
a
just
service.
kinda-
I mean, they're service animals. but-
yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, again, I feel like there could be like many different ways people cope with that type of stuff. But I felt like where they were getting at is the idea like this isn't just what having anxiety and a panic attack is. You don't just do that and
Yeah.
then just that's all it does to get rid of it. You know, there's a lot more that goes into it. So somebody
Mm.
was upset about that. So that's where I kind of felt like it was very weird and it was very random too in the movie because you're just
it
like
was forced.
you were just like, where did this come from?
Mhm.
Like, you know, again, you see a character like Puss who's like very fearless, and then he has this moment of fear, and you're just like, oh, this is new. But then you're just like, okay, he just out of nowhere gets this, and now they're just like trying to bring it out of nowhere and trying to
Yeah.
make you be like, oh, like look, like we're including this. Like, don't worry, we're including this. And it's just like, oh,
I haven't seen it, so I might be wrong, but I feel like it would have been better if they kind of made that. If that was the focus of the movie, that'd be great. Because it's like, all right, like he's Puss in Boots. He's known to be this guy that's fearless, but then he has that moment of himself in the movie where it's like, oh fuck, like I am like even though in public I show that I'm not scared, I'll be shitting bricks.
Exactly.
And make that the focal point where it's like, all right, like I kind of get stage fright because you know people depend on me. People look at me at this thing
Yeah.
that even though I'm out there confidently, I'm like stressing the fuck out because I'm not brave.
Exactly.
But regardless of that fact, I still go out there and be brave. That's a great concept for a movie.
Sign you. Yeah,
That's-
write it right here.
Like, not just, oh, he fought the guy, go home, oh, what's up, Scrappy? And then he's like, no, I don't have anxiety anymore.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
basically what they were trying to do. And that's what the person was kind of trying to talk about. Like, oh, this isn't just all this is. Like, you don't just get rid of it. You don't just, you know, cure it just by having this happen. That there's way more. So
Some people have breathing exercises, some people had to take medication, some people, but I mean, obviously they're not gonna have fucking puss popping pills.
where are my pills? Where are my pills?
Scrappy!
My pills. But
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Ah,
In my
yes.
boots.
In my boots, of course. But yeah, you know, like I said, I understand, but it's like, at what point are we gonna finally? I guess it's just a phase, you know, is what these movies are trying to put out.
I
But
don't think it's going away.
I don't think it's going away. But I mean, at some point, we're gonna start to realize, like, bro, y'all touched on literally everything. How
Yeah.
much more can y'all like?
Then it's like, at that point it has to be. They have no choice but to make it natural. Like you can't.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I think it's not gonna go away, but like I said, there's a
It'll
point
get
where,
better, hopefully.
where you can't just force it at this point. Like we understand, bro. There's been 3 movies out last year that just talked about like anxiety. Like you guys are like just doing the same thing at this point.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Right. The initial thing that I want to bring up and like kind of, I'll just throw it in here before we close out, was when I was talking about Sesame Street and we were making fun of Veggie Tales because it's just like you got these fruits and vegetables talking to us about religion and shit, and we're just kind of like this heavy ass propaganda they were just throwing on kids, like. And it's just like, oh, like eat your tomatoes and vegetables or you'll go to hell. Like it's like that type shit. But we were laughing about that, and then we were also mentioning how like Quentin mentioned that Nickelodeon as a network is like they always try to paint Disney as like the fucked up place where all the people, like all their actors and actresses get fucked up, but Nickelodeon was out here like having their issues too.
Yeah.
And that's when we kind of started building on this joke of like, I told him, I was like, all it is that if you want to end up growing up and going to rehab, you go work at Disney. And if you want to deal with, some assault stuff, you go to Nickelodeon. But I was like, at the same time, when you think about it, the Disney ones end up a lot more fucked up than the Nickelodeon ones. Cause you look at Nickelodeon and you got like Jeanette McCurdy, who had her stuff with iCarly and stuff, and how that shit was
Yeah.
fucked up. Now she's for 40 weeks in a row, she has a New York Times bestseller. Thing about Andre from Victorious, he's like has music on the radio right now. He has like Grammys on Grammys and shit. Ariana Grande's Ariana Grande. She's doing her thing. Josh Peck is still doing his thing low key. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody else, but there's a lot of Nick actresses and actors that obviously they dealt with what's his name, Dan Schneider, and he was just like a piece of shit. But they're okay. Oh, Liz Gillies, she's like on Broadway and shit. That's Jade from Victorious.
Okay, yeah.
But then you look at fucking Disney, and you got Demi Lovato, who had like a heroin addiction, and Miley Cyrus had her little spouts at some point.
Yeah.
And you think about Orlando Brown, who's
Boop,
out here,
boop,
yeah,
boop,
who
boop.
was just tweaking. I think Raven Simone had a little moment there, so it's just like, damn, like, shit's wild.
Yeah, they just were not taking care of them, and that sucked.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it's unfortunate. But I mean, you would think that you have people watching them on set, but like again, you think about like Jeanette McCurdy. She talks about how like her mom basically was using her acting to make money, like it was her main source
you
of
have
income.
that, and then you also have the idea of like once they're famous, they're getting invited to these parties and all that
Yeah.
other type of stuff, and then nobody's supervising them.
Mhm.
You're letting this like 13-year-old, like 15,
Who
16-year-old
has fame and money and
into a party of like a
access.
bunch of like 20-year-olds close
Yeah.
to 30, and you're just like, bro, what?
And they're getting all close to them and basically grooming some of these people. And they had,
Exactly.
and when they step out, it's like, at least in the you go to those like you see those awards, kids are going crazy over them. They're just other little kids. Yeah, like, and they build them up to be these heartthrobs and shit. So yeah, it's a weird thing. Even with like Dylan and Cole Sprouse, like they barely have a relationship with their mom because she like used them for money too. So it's like it's unfortunate, but yeah, man. The joke was a lot funnier earlier on the phone call. Now it's just like it was. We were riffing back and forth. You know how comedians do. So
Now this is a Pixar movie.
but yeah, I don't remember that because like, oh, like I would love to be like on one of those shows or whatever. And you think about it, nah, I liked my childhood, but
I think I would have been fine with being like a background character, someone
Yeah.
that shows up once in a while on the show, but not consecutively,
yeah,
That would have been me.
or to be on those Olympic games that they had.
True.
I would have
yes.
loved to do that on Disney.
Like if we would have talked about Zach and Cody, I would have been fine being like Erwin, because like he was
Yeah.
there, but like not every episode, you
Mhm.
know.
But that's something I mentioned too to Quinn. I was like, imagine, because like the people I mentioned that have like their issues or whatever. Imagine being those characters that like they were just chilling, like they just showed up to set and they went home, not on
Exactly.
drugs, not on nothing crazy. Imagine being those people, seeing all that shit go down on set.
Yeah, that must have been sad. Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
There's I forget their names, but you remember the show Good Luck Charlie?
I remember it, never watched it, but
Really?
I
Well,
watched like maybe like one or two, but I stopped at that point.
well, there's some characters from that show. They have a podcast together now. They just like remain tight, and they have a podcast, and they talk about a lot of that stuff. Where it's like they were chilling, like they acted, whatever. They finished acting, they went to college or whatever, and they just they live in their lives. But they got to see a lot of that stuff where certain characters maybe were assholes off camera, or they were on drugs or just abusive, like. So it's just a weird. It's a odd perspective to have. Or you think about like Josh Peck, where like he had those years, and now you look at like his counterpart, like Drake Bell, like he's just going through all this shit and being a sexual child abuser and all this stuff, and he's like on the run in Mexico. So like from his perspective, it's like yeah, he had his thing with drugs and like food and stuff, and he lost weight and he got clean and sober. But it's just a weird perspective. I don't know. I would love to like have a conversation with one of those people and like ask them about it.
Yeah, a little weird.
Yeah, but we've been running for a minute here, so we're gonna hop up out of here. Appreciate you guys for watching.
Yep.
Love every single one of you. Appreciate the comments and the love and the videos and the love that it gets, and love that you guys are enjoying it as well. The number one thing that we get in the comments is like, oh, like I love what makes it enjoyable to watch is that I know that you guys are having fun. and they see us laughing our ass off over fucking mang mang or other shit like
Yo,
that.
stop. Bro, editing that
Or-
John was too funny, bro.
or just like our zombie videos and shit, like they can tell that we are not forcing it either. So I'm glad that is portrayed well and that you guys are enjoying our fun. So we love you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.